Alright, welcome to what I'm calling day 2, I guess, of mastering astral projection versus lucidology. So today, I've done this 3 times now, so I don't have an incredible amount of information to report, but what I do have is interesting. So first I want to talk about the procedure. The go-to-sleep strategy is the first thing. Nicholas Newport talks about the stop, drop, and roll. So stop means you lay down in bed and you put your arms over your head. This is to get yourself into the deepest state of relaxation. And when you finally know that you've gotten into a state of relaxation, meaning you've let the day go, there's nothing else to hold you back from moving into a state of slumber, you put your arms down at your sides, and then you start your sleep breathing. The sleep breathing is, I think I mentioned this in the last video, that you are emulating yourself breathing as you would if you were asleep. This sounds kind of like this, and this is an exaggerated breath, but I want you to be able to hear it. It's like a... Now that's my breath. It's kind of like that. I've recorded myself. It wasn't easy to do. But if you can just get into that place where you're breathing deeply to the point that you're just about to activate the diaphragm, you can feel it right down around the base of the rib cage. That's the place where you need to get to. You also want to have no eye movement whatsoever. The idea is that you're emulating everything that's happening in the sleep state. So your eyes are not moving at all. You're doing the sleep breathing, and then the other thing you can do is pause for 2 or 3 seconds at the end of the exhale, just before the inhale, and do that pause once every 15 seconds or so. These are all things that happen during your regular state of sleep, so if you can trick the body into thinking that the mind, the brain, is asleep, the thinking part of ourselves, then the opportunity for the body to fully go into a state of sleep will give you the opportunity to go into body asleep, mind awake state, where you can start to work on doing an exit technique. Now, he says that when the body is asleep, using the methods of the stop and drop, the drop meaning putting the arms by the sides, what's going to happen is the body wants to find out from the brain, from the mind, the thinking mind, whether or not it's asleep. So it's going to send a rollover signal. This is what the stop, drop, and roll is. That rollover signal is a signal from the body to the brain to say, roll the body over onto the side. And the idea is to resist this. The more that you can resist the rollover signal, the more the body will think that the brain, the thinking mind, is asleep. And once you can get to that place, that, like I said, is the opportunity to start working with exit techniques. This stage that we're at right now is where we're trying to get the body to go to 90% asleep. So what happens is the other thing we can do is we can do one of two things. We can either work on getting deeper into the body sleep, mind awake experience, and I'll talk about what that is like. At this point, we're probably about 90% of the body being asleep, and we want to get to 100%. The next thing you might try out is muscle twitching. So this same thing that happens when you're going deeply asleep, that the body will start to twitch. So if you can start to emulate this, sending the signal from your brain down into your body, it's going to look something like this, like very quick sort of tension in a muscle. You could use your arm, you could use your leg, but you're emulating the twitching experience. The other thing you could do is try doing, so that's about 95%. Once you're doing that, you can get the body to go to 95% body asleep, mind awake. 99% would be what he's saying is kind of like an EMDR eye movement. So this is the opposite of no eye movement, right? And now we're going to be doing what he says to be an up and down movement. For 10 seconds, go up and down with your eyes as fast as possible. He says that the side to side has never worked for him. In EMDR, when a psychotherapist does that therapy with you, the idea is that when the eyes are going to different parts from side to side, that you're accessing different parts of the brain. Thus, you're accessing different parts of the memory. And so you're able to actually go back into experiences that you've had in the past and recall things that you wouldn't normally be able to recall because you're using your eyes to go back and forth. So he says, if the up and down doesn't work for you, go side to side. And I'm not sure why this would work, to be honest with you. And he doesn't really know. He doesn't really explain it. I would just say if you're inclined, try it, see if it works. I remember trying this out personally myself some months ago when I first learned about Lucidology, and it didn't really do anything for me back then. However, I do know that this does work because I've done EMDR therapy, and I, as a body talk practitioner, I also utilize eye movement in accessing memories, belief systems, fears, events, things that have happened in the past, and actually helping to bring balance to them in the body, mind, and healing people of old traumatic experiences. And I've done this a lot, and I know it really works. So there is something about moving the eyes that does trigger things. Also, there's a method of hypnotherapy. Well, actually, it's not really hypnotherapy. It's more like NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. This reminds me of another tongue twister I was trying to say yesterday, which was sushi chef. Try saying that one 5 times fast. It's fun. Anyway, neuro-linguistic programming, they have, I think it's called eye movement therapy, EMT maybe, where they also try to get you to watch something like fingers moving around and getting you to move your eyes all over the place and follow something to make sure that when you are changing your belief system or something in your subconscious mind, that all parts of the brain are receiving that trigger. So anyway, there is something to this. Try it. I don't know how it relates to sleep, though, I guess is the thing. So the role now, you've resisted the roll, you've gotten into the eye movement, and you should be at a place where your body is asleep, mind awake. Now, this is all leading up to getting you to the place where you can do an exit strategy. So we'll cover that later. But in the meantime, this is going to take practice. Trust me. I've done 3 nights of this, and it's not as easy as it sounds. Now, I said that there were 2 parts to the role. So that is, I want to move into an exit strategy. The other is, what if I really do want to go to sleep? And I've set my alarm, and I'm going to be waking up at 8 hours in the future, but I need to get to sleep. And so while you're laying in the drop position, the body's going to continue to send roll signals to the brain to find out if the brain's actually asleep. And you resist those and resist them and resist them. What ends up happening is laying on your back and having the desire to roll over becomes literally excruciating. It's not very comfortable. However, if you do wait until that point and then you finally roll over, you will go to sleep pretty quickly. It's pretty interesting. So this is the part that cures the insomnia. So try it out if you're an insomniac like I am. I've tried this out and it actually works pretty well. It's like by the time you roll over, you're exhausted and you go right to sleep. So it's challenging though. You got to build up to this and you got to practice a bit. So 3 days I've done this. I've worked with the timer. I've found that I've been having a really, really difficult time actually getting to sleep, even though trying to stop, drop, and roll. But I still have a really difficult time getting to sleep. And so the first timer is set at 8 minutes. Well, I can't get to sleep in 8 minutes. So what I've started doing is setting it for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, which is not a big deal, right? Except that one of the things that he really wants you to do is to be in the pattern of your REM, and that REM pattern's at about 45 minutes, and that's why he says get up for 45 minutes and then go back to bed right at 45 minutes and go directly to sleep, and then set the timer for 8 minutes, and you should be asleep really soon, and then 8 minutes is going to be insignificant. So I've tried that. It didn't work. I still couldn't get to sleep. I've tried setting the alarm and waking up and then not being able to get to sleep again. I've tried setting my alarm. God, what else have I tried? I can't even think of what it is now. I've set my alarm for 8 hours. So I haven't. Another thing that Nicholas does is he goes to bed at 8 o'clock at night, and then he wakes up to do this at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, everybody says that astral projection at 4 o'clock in the morning is like the bee's knees, but I don't go to bed at 8. I can't even get to bed before 1. I mean, it's kind of a miracle if I can get to bed anytime early like that, and it's just not me. I'm a night person. So I've tried waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but then I don't have enough sleep, and it's very awkward, and I tried going to bed at 1 and then waking up at 7, and I tried going to bed at 1 and then just starting to do astral projection work when I get up to pee in the middle of the night and then going right into it. None of these work. They all have these drawbacks. Either I can't get to sleep, or I did this. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I set the alarm, the first timer, for 30 minutes, and then I set all the regular timer intervals afterward, 8, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 20, and then repeating those after the last 16, 20, 20 at the end, and I did that for 4 hours. And one of the things I can honestly tell you is when I don't get sleep, I am miserable, and each day that I tried doing this, even though I was sleeping and hearing the beep and waking up and going back to sleep, I felt so dragged out and tired the entire day that it really didn't seem worth it to me, because I'm not functioning at my best, and I want to function at my best. So it also did not really improve my dream recall. Because you're supposed to go right back to sleep. Normally if I wanted to remember dreams, I would wake up immediately and scroll down some memories of the dreams that I had. But I'm trying to go back to sleep, so I'm not remembering dreams, and I'm not astral projecting, and I'm not able to sleep well because the beep keeps going off. So far this method has been really challenging for me. I'm going to keep trying. I'll probably do it tonight, actually, again. I'm a little nervous about not being able to have enough sleep to function tomorrow, but I don't have a lot of things going on tomorrow. So, anyway, I'll leave you with that for the time being. Ciao.